There we go. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tip Tuesday. Haven't said that in a while. Today is the 3rd day of May. This is the 86th episode of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show. I can't believe it. It's almost time to start a new season. I generally start a new season in the 80s. So I got like 4 episodes to go before I start a new season. I got to figure out what season 4 will be about. Anyway, I can't believe it's been 3 seasons. So, welcome to the show. This is the Be Your Own Hero show. I'm your host, sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative, and that means I do a lot of different creative things. I'm an author, I'm a journalist, I'm a jewelry maker, filmmaker, playwright, lots of different creative things. If you want to know more about me, just go to my website, sekouwrites.com. Anyway, aside from that, I'm also the creator of the Hero Ministry Movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire people in general and the unhoused community in specific. So join me here Monday through Friday, 8:45 a.m. Central Time, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, and 7:45 a.m. Mountain Time to hear me talk about my journey of becoming my own hero at first and then my own financial hero, and then kind of both of those together now. And if this show feeds you in any way, please like, please comment, and please share. Spread the word. Let people know about the New Thought Media Network, which has allowed me the space and opportunity to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero. And New Thought Media Network, just a reminder, is a full-fledged nonprofit. So any donations there are tax deductible, and they are growing and growing and growing. I can see the growth on my side, even when I log in to do this show. There's more and more channels, more and more cities, more and more churches. It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you haven't yet, please go to NT, N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, media.org and check out all the offerings of the New Thought Media Network. You will be very surprised. It's vast. It's vast. Okay, so all that said, quick disclaimer, I am not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor. So take what I say with a grain of salt. In other words, do your own due diligence. Do your own due diligence and make it your journey, not just mine. All right, so as you know, if you've been watching the show, I took Friday and Monday off. And what's interesting about that is I played old episodes. I played day 55 and I played day 68 on my run streak on Monday. And I actually watched. Now, that doesn't sound unusual, right? But I never watch my shows. Rev Mel is always on me to watch my shows and, see what I said. I'm like, I did it. It's done. Moving on. But I tend to be challenged by watching myself again. But I watched Monday and Friday, and I was fascinated. I was like, wow, I was talking about that then, and look how that coincides with what I'm talking about now. And look at how all these things mesh together. And look at that book that I referenced that I haven't referenced in a while. So it was really interesting for me as a spectator of myself. So anyway, I hope it was interesting for you. I know Nan watched yesterday, Monday, and she didn't even realize it was a pre-recorded show because it felt so current. And I felt the same way. I felt like I just talked about that again last week. So it just underscores the point that these lessons, once you reach a certain level, these lessons are the same. There's this synchronicity of the lessons that means that you pull information from different places, different periods of time, different books, but the lesson is the same. And that lets you know that there is truth, like there is undergirding of truth, like there is a path to walk, to follow, to be, that is the path. And that is groundbreaking to me because as I've thought about it previously, I've thought, there's a million different ways to get there. Yeah, not so much. Not so much. If you're interested in success, if you're interested in creating a grand financial present tense for your life, then there are certain steps you should follow because these are the steps that keep showing up in all these different texts from all these different thought leaders. rephrased, but the same things. So there is actually a way. So that's what that reminded me of. Watching my own 2 episodes on my repeats of day 55 and day 68 reminded me that there is a path. And so I encourage all of us to remember that there is a path, and we got to find out as much as we can about the path to our greatness. Okay, so that said, what do I want to talk about first? I guess I'll do the run streak. So today is day 337. 337. I've been running every day, at least a mile a day for 337 days in a row. And so many things, so many things. I am now claiming I'm now claiming 3 run streakers. I'm now claiming that I have influenced 3 run streakers. You saw me, if you watched the show, you saw me play a video from one of them here as best I could. And she mentioned me by name. So clear shout out from her to me for influencing her to become a run streaker, which means to run every day, at least a mile a day. And also there are 2 other people in my circle that I'm claiming also. I know I may only be a partial influence, but I'm claiming them. Anyway, one of them, the most recent one, asked me this weekend how I run in the rain. And I got stumped because no one's asked me that before. People have acknowledged that I run in the rain. Nan has even run in the rain based on the fact that I run in the rain, right? But no one's asked me how. How do you do that? And so I really spent a lot of time thinking about it this weekend, and I'm going to try to keep my answer concise, but I think it's worth mentioning, both for you and for me to further ground myself in the why, and for you to get some examples about how this might work in your life, whether it's for running or not. So I came up with 3 things, I think. So the first is I believe that by choosing the difficult path, by choosing to be unstoppable in running, that I am building the muscle of becoming unstoppable in life. So I'm going to say that again. I believe that by choosing to be unstoppable in running, I am building the muscle of being unstoppable in life. So that's my belief. And admittedly, I didn't have that belief in the very beginning. That's a belief that has evolved over time, but I believe that to be true, that the habit of pushing past whatever obstacles there are is a habit that is transferable, that will serve you in other areas, even if you don't intentionally think about it. So I believe that. So that's one answer. Another, well, you know what? That felt satisfying. I might be complete with that. I might circle back and say some other things, but that feels complete. That's not what I started with. That's not what I had in my mind when I first started running through inclement weather, not just rain, but also snow, sleet, tornadoes, hurricanes, mud, whatever. But that's where I got to. I believe that choosing the difficult path consistently will bleed into the other areas of my life and make me more unstoppable in the other areas of my life. Yeah, all right, I'm complete with that for now, but I may circle back because you heard me say I had 3 answers, so I may circle back to the other 2. Moving on. All right, so as I say, I'm claiming 3 run streakers as being influenced by me. Moving on. As you know, I've been raising money for Brown Boys Read. I'm very excited to be doing that work, and I played a video from Demetrius Short, the creator of that program, last week. I don't see it here. I must have taken it down. So I'll replay that again later in the week just so you can hear it from his own words. But that said, shout out to Nan for being the most recent person to donate. I appreciate you. So we're now at about 39% completion. And I wanted to do this to make it more clear. This is the website that I created that will take people straight to the GoFundMe. So it was a little confusing before. This, I hope, makes it much more clear. Just go to herocharityrun.com. That will take you directly to where you need to be to donate to Brown Boys Read. And they had a graduation ceremony recently, and lots of kids who were very proud getting their diplomas and having run their first 5K as kids is just amazing. So anyway, please donate, please donate, please donate. The link is herocharityrun.com. And again, I heard from GoFundMe, they're interested in this campaign. So I don't know what that means, but I'm grateful to know that they are interested and excited about this campaign. So we wanna show up and show out. Okay, moving on to the dice roll challenge. You've had a couple days off. No one was sitting here rolling dice on Friday and Monday because I wasn't at that point doing dice rolls in those early episodes. But here we go. We're back to it. I don't know if you can hear the lawn guy, but the lawn guy's out there making it happen. All right, here we go. Dice roll challenge. What day is this? May 3rd. There was something else I was going to say. May 3rd. Well, whatever. May 3rd. Oh, Tuesday. May 3rd, Tip Tuesday. Here we go. All right, number two. So you're going to take $2 out of circulation. You're going to move that over into your investment account, your account that you've set aside for investing, or your Roth account that you've set aside for investing, or your money jar, or whatever. But take $2 out of circulation because you want to accumulate money that you can use to invest. It's very important that you accumulate money that you can use to invest because you must invest, which we'll get to in a second. All right, so Morning Zen. I'm going to read this first. Because you'll never guess where I got it. Now, I've said just recently that this show for me has become about financial literacy and abundance for artists, which I can speak very well to that, and retirees. Now, here is a quote that will kind of tie this together for me. All right, back to reading from the Kindle app on my phone. Here's the quote. Freedom is great. All of us seem to naturally want it, strive for it, even crave it. But that doesn't mean that we have the appropriate psychological resources to operate effectively in an environment that has few, if any, boundaries. Let me read it again. Freedom is great. All of us seem to naturally want it, strive for it, even crave it. But that doesn't mean that we have the appropriate psychological resources to operate effectively in an environment that has few, if any, boundaries. What are we talking about? We're talking about time. Actually, we're talking about time and money. There's so many ways to apply this. So this book, believe it or not, is not by Jay Shetty or Tony Robbins or Les Brown or any of the thought leaders of the world. This book that I'm reading from is a book about how to trade the stock market. Yeah, this is a book about how to trade the stock market. Back to my earlier point in this show about how all of these paths lead to the same truths over and over again. So anyway, back to the quote. So I said we're talking about time and also abundance and wealth. In terms of time, our most precious, our most valuable resource is time, especially as artists, especially as retirees. We have an abundance of time. Now, I was listening to a podcast about trading over the weekend, and I caught this phrase. Two traders were talking to each other, and one of them said, well, if you're time poor, then you might want to do this. Time poor. I never even heard that phrase before. Time poor. And you can figure out what it means just by the context. So I'm saying that artists and retirees are very time rich. Very time rich. We have an abundance of the most precious resource there is. The thing is, we artists and retirees spend way more time being concerned about wasting money versus wasting time. Money, you can always get back. How many stories have we heard about multimillionaires that lost it all and got it all back? You can always get money back. You can always create wealth, but you can't get time back. Not ever. Not ever. That is by far the more precious resource, and it is by far the thing that we waste more of. So as time-rich groups, artists and retirees, I'm imploring all of us to be cognizant of the time that we waste. Because if you're not using some of your wealth of time to apply towards changing your life circumstances, to apply towards changing your financial circumstances, then you're losing. Don't lose. Apply some of that time, some of that wealth to things that will change your life. Because again, back to the conversation between the two stockbrokers, they were talking about trade. They were talking about somebody being time poor, where they don't have any time. They're just trying to make the best of what little bit of time they can get to move forward. Well, we have an abundance of time, so much so that it tends to be challenging. What did it say? We may not have the psychological resources to operate effectively in an environment that has few, if any, boundaries. See, I know that artists and retirees have experienced this quite a bit. Like when you become a full-time artist or when you become a retiree, all of a sudden there's so much time and there's no structure. There's zero structure. There's nothing telling you to do something at a certain time. Like you don't have to get up at a certain time. You have to go to work at a certain time. And you end up keeping odd hours, especially artists. We keep odd hours for no reason, except that there's no time constraints around us. And I remember a quick story before I get back on track. I remember I was delivering a bracelet that I made to a lawyer during the pandemic, and she had been at home for 2 days. And when she opened the door, you would have thought she'd have been attacked by a wild animal, like hair sideways, one pant leg up, just like really overwhelmed with the sense of time. And mind you, she was still working, but working from home. There is actually a skill set to develop. That's what this made me realize. There's a skill set to develop in terms of managing the abundance of time as an artist or as a retiree. You gotta come up with a plan because it's so much time. You got an abundance of time, right? And what I'm suggesting is that you apply yourself to changing your circumstances. Like set aside a block of time, like decide how much time you're gonna spend per day, let's say, on changing your financial future because you are time rich. Okay, I spent way more time talking about that than I meant to, but I feel it as you can tell, because I've been an artist for a long time, and it is challenging sometimes managing the abundance of time, not having a specific thing to do at a specific time. So give yourself a specific thing to do at a specific time. And make sure that you give yourself something to do every day that has to do with changing your financial future, because a little bit every day adds up. All right, moving on. Okay, so this will take us right into abundance, and I got to pick up the pace a little bit. So we're only going to do the abundance, the affirmation. We're only going to do it once. So do it with feeling. Make sure you feel it in your bones. Here it is. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Ashe and amen. You got to feel it. And here's my reminder. If you only spend, you'll stay poor. If you only spend, you'll stay poor. If you only save, you'll stay middle class. In order to become wealthy, you must invest. It's not optional. That takes us all the way back to the dice roll challenge. That's why we're setting aside little small coffee-sized amounts of money to invest later, because you must invest to change your financial circumstances, and you must make proper use of your time. Okay, so we talked about SAMs a lot last week, and there's a few things I want to say. Okay, so in terms of SAMs, this is what really occurred to me. And for those of you just joining us, yes, I am talking about Sam's Club, the store. It doesn't really matter what the store is. If you walk into any store and you buy something, whatever you're buying will depreciate in value. It's going to depreciate. And whatever you're buying will slowly increase in price because of inflation. And the dollars that you're buying said thing with will slowly water themselves down because of inflation. The value of the dollar is slowly being diluted. So we got three things that are guaranteed. What you buy is going to depreciate. The prices of what you buy are slowly going to increase. And the value of the money that you spend is slowly going to decrease. So that's That's a guaranteed setup, right? That you can't win in that environment. Like those things are guaranteed. Inflation is guaranteed, right? So when you think about it that way, doesn't it make sense to have some money in the stock market where at least you've got a chance to win? Because consumerism, you've got zero chance to win. You got zero chance. I'm just going to say it one more time. Whatever you buy is going to depreciate. The prices are going to steadily increase, and the valuation of your dollars in your pocket are slowly going to decrease. It's a setup. You got to invest. You got to invest. And we're talking about investing in the stock market. Okay, so quick thing. In terms of investing in the stock market, it's a longer time horizon than most of us think. I say that because I've gotten a few text messages recently where people were worried about the fact that some of the stocks that we've talked about on the show are down. Yeah, don't worry about that. I know it's easy to say, but don't worry about it because the time horizon for investing in the stock market is long. We're talking 3 to 5 years, 10 years, really. We're talking about a decade. But 3 to 5 years is your like minimum threshold. You shouldn't be worried about the daily fluctuations or the weekly fluctuations or the monthly fluctuations or even the annual fluctuations. You need to be worried about 3 to 5 years out. Okay? So think about it on a longer time horizon. That said, shout out to all my people who have the S&P 500. Woo, 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 because we just had a dividend payout. And that feels good, right? So everyone who has SPY, you got a dividend payout this past weekend. I got the notification on my phone, and you got notifications too, or if you didn't, go in and check. But you got a dividend disbursement. Now, I'm set up for DRIP, which means I have my dividends automatically reinvested back into the asset. So I've got a couple fun facts. So one, even though I only bought a share of the S&P 500, I now own more than a share because it's building itself up. Every time there's a dividend disbursement, it takes the dividend and buys a partial share of itself on autopilot. There's nothing to do. It's building itself. Now, obviously, it would have been great to know this in high school, right? But we are where we are. The fact that it's building itself is epic. Like you just put your money in there and let it build itself. So back to the Sam's Club analogy, right? So in one example, in terms of consumerism, you're definitely losing. Whereas in the stock market, if you put your money in the right place, like the S&P 500, you're definitely winning. And it just takes time. It takes time. It takes time. It keeps building on itself. So the disbursement was about a little bit less than $1.50, which is not a lot of money. But if you walked out your house today and somebody handed you $1.50, would you say no? Of course not. It's free money. And this is your money paying you. Hear that again. This is your money paying you. Every 3 months, your money hands you a little less than $1.50. That's incredible. That's incredible. So put your money in the right place, invest, think of it as a long time horizon. Okay, so a couple other things I want to talk about. I want to circle back to Linda. Linda and I were talking about this, the Sam's analogy, but also we were talking about AT&T, because last week I was talking about AT&T stock, and I was saying that it is an inexpensive stock, not cheap, it's inexpensive. So AT&T shares are currently trading around $20 per share, and that's where it stays. And in terms of dividends, it pays out $1 per year. $1 per year. So Linda in the comments later said that she actually inherited some stock that became AT&T stock. So Linda, you're ahead of the game. So back to what I said recently, I learned that the stock market game is a single game that can be played millions of different ways. So you've already got AT&T stock. That means you're already getting this dividend. It's built in, it's baked in. You can't not get it. The thing you need to check is whether or not you have DRIP activated. And that will depend based on the brokerage house or whatever. But you have to figure out whether DRIP is activated. DRIP, once again, is Dividend Reinvestment Plan. It's an acronym for Dividend Reinvestment Plan. Dividend Reinvestment Plan. So if DRIP is activated, then every time you've gotten a dividend disbursement in the past, it has automatically put that money back into your shares, and they've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over time. If DRIP is not activated, then you've gotten disbursements to the cash side of whatever brokerage house you have. So, two ways to think about this. You can have DRIP activated to grow your money faster on autopilot, or you can turn DRIP off to have that money come to you as income. So what I'm doing is keeping DRIP on everything. Let it grow faster. I just talked about it in terms of the S&P 500. Let it grow faster, with the idea that at some point down the line, I'll be able to turn off DRIP and live off the dividends of my own money. Come on now. You know that's amazing. Just the thought of that is amazing. And I mentioned a guy recently who has so much invested that if he turned off the DRIP, he could live off of about $88,000 a year off of his own money. His own money is paying him a salary in dividends of $88,000 a year. So that is an incredible idea. And for the retirees out there, retirees typically have access to more things that are worth a lot of money. So be thinking about this now. The more you have invested in the stock market, and let's keep it specific. Let's just keep it to the S&P 500. The S&P 500 pays a dividend. We just talked about it. It was dividend disbursement day this past weekend, right? So my, almost $1.50 is for one share. But if I had two shares, that'd be $3. And you can do the math on and on and on. The dividend is protected. Like for you to not get the dividend off the S&P 500, something would have to happen to all 500 of those companies that are all worth more than $10 billion each. Right? Is it possible? Yes, anything's possible. But is it likely? Is it likely? No, it's not likely. So, whereas if you go to Sam's or any store, it's guaranteed that you're spending watered down dollars to buy goods that are increasing in price and will depreciate as soon as you walk out the door. Guaranteed. All right? So put your money where it can grow effectively over time. And at some point, even pay you a salary. I can't get over that idea. It's an amazing idea to get paid a salary off your own money, independent of anything else, and independent of having a fixed income or a job or whatever. Your money can pay you a salary, but you have to invest first. Okay, so I got all caught up on that, and that's not even what I really wanted to talk about today. So now I'm going to save my notes for today to talk about tomorrow, because there's a couple things that I wanted to circle back to. I've got another Amazon story in terms of rewards. So anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow. All right, so let's see. All right, I was looking at the chat. Just want to say shout out to the people in chat. Shout out to Linda, Tim, Wasida, Nan, Gladys. All right, so I'll check your comments and see if there's anything I need to respond to for tomorrow. And yes, good to be back. Good to be back live. And let's talk more about dividends and reinvesting dividends and playing the stock market in a different kind of way. In the meantime, take your $2 out of circulation, because you can't play the game if you're not in the game. All right, so keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own financial hero. And remember that now is better than perfect in terms of investing. If you wait to invest, you're missing out on the dividends. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Later.